Welcome to Codex, a history of video games. I'm Mike Coletta.
And I'm Tyler Osby.
And today is a Codex discussion, part of our lecture series, if you will.
This is the beginning of our TED Talk.
Yeah, that's right. I put on a college professor's outfit, so I'm wearing a bow tie and a beret. And
You got big circly glasses on.
Big circly glasses. I'm drinking like 18 cups of coffee. I am ready to talk about first-person shooters.
Yep. You're sitting behind the desk. No one can see. We're not really sure if you're wearing pants or not, but it's fine.
That's right. That's totally what a college
Could
professor
just be wearing
does.
basketball shorts.
You know what? And that would be accurate because I'm always wearing basketball shorts. Gosh, in a perfect world, I could wear basketball shorts all the time.
And a tweed jacket and a bow tie.
Exactly. You just nailed my style. It's like Ted Danson up top from Good Place, you know, a suit and jacket and bow tie. Basketball player on the bottom.
Oh, man. You got your Nikes?
Oh, I'd be wearing Nikes, you know. I'd be wearing Jordans. I've never owned a pair of Jordans in my life, but now I want to.
Yeah, just to complete the look.
Just to complete the whole look. But man, I'm excited. This is a great topic.
Yeah, this is one of our favorite genres together because we have probably spent most of our gaming time together playing FPSs, specifically Destiny, but we've played a lot of Halo together too. So
we have. We
played through all those storylines like fairly recently, right? Didn't we play through all of them or most of them?
Yeah, we did. We did most of them for sure. It was so fun too. We played 3 players.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
That's something we're gonna have to touch on. You know.
Yep.
Oh man, I guess should we just kick it off like a timeline wise of what was the first person shooter you ever played?
Oh yeah, I can. Oh man, can I answer that? First person shooter I ever played was not Doom, although it's probably the oldest first person shooter I've ever played. Although Wolfenstein is, I guess I've technically played Wolfenstein. You have to come back to me. What was the first one you ever played?
I remember playing. It was either Doom or I think it was actually Wolfenstein on a computer at my cousin's house in Fairbanks. I think it was like her uncle's game. But the first one I ever played that I got really serious about was GoldenEye. So that's kind of why we did last week was kind of a near and dear to my heart episode, everybody.
Little teaser for this
little
episode.
Teaser. Man, I just love GoldenEye so much. I loved it so much. I loved playing the single player mode on GoldenEye.
Yeah?
Yeah, I played that all the time. Like, I would try to get 00 agent status, you know? It was really hard.
Yeah, as games were back in the day. I mean, they still can be hard now, but they were, like, brutally hard on N64.
Unforgiving, if you will.
Yeah. It's a different, design philosophy back in the day because they didn't expect you to finish the game. Like, if you finished the game, that meant you were extremely good at it, right? Nowadays, it's like, anybody can finish the game. Can you do it on the harder difficulties is the question.
Yeah, and can you 100% Achievo that game?
Right.
Yeah, that's the other real question. Because that's what everyone wants you to do. They're like, this guy's got to get all the achievements in it so we know he's a true fan.
Did you get the Platinum Trophy?
Yeah, exactly. Did you get the Platinum Trophy? I haven't Platinumed that many games, by the way.
I have Platinumed 2 games, and they are both PS2 games on PS3. I Platinumed Jak and Daxter, the Precursor Legacy, and I Platinumed Ratchet & Clank Going Commando.
Nice. I Platinumed Elder Scrolls Oblivion on Xbox 360. And then I most recently Platinumed Destiny 2 on console. Before
you got all the achievements on Destiny 2?
Before all the DLC drops. So the native game, when it came out, the original game, with the story of the Red Legion in Gaul, I got 100% achievements on that. I also got 100% achievements on Battlefield 1.
Oh, wow. That's tough.
I love Battlefield 1. I love Battlefield 1 so much. Let's
jump into that. What do you love so much about Battlefield?
I love that it's like big team battles, like an epic storyline. Because so it started off when I was a kid, and I would play Perfect Dark, and I would turn as many bots as my N64 could handle, and it would just be me versus all of the bots. And that's how I would play. So they just keep coming and coming and coming, all the bots. And the funny part about it is, like, when you played on Perfect Dark, they were like highlighted the team color they had, but they still had the player model underneath. So it just looked like a lime green Jaws or Odd Job was running at you. Well, but it wasn't Jaws or Odd Job because it was their own, special universe. So it was like and I would just always do the soldiers. I would never do the characters because I felt bad if I killed the actual characters from the story. So I would just play as, just let me kill some basic grunts, dress them up as grunts, and hand them out to me. And I would be I would be Elvis the alien. That's who I would be always. He's the odd job of Perfect Dark because he is shorter.
Oh yeah,
because he's an alien. You know, it makes no sense.
Aliens are short.
But yeah, go ahead.
I'd say I remember when Battlefield series like first came out, like the big deal was they were 32 versus 32 player matches on PC. In the original Battlefield 1942. And a TV show I used to watch back in the day called The Screensavers on Tech TV, they used to have like every week, because it was a daily show, but every week, like every Wednesday or Friday or whatever, they would have a LAN party and you could play games with the people who are on the TV show, and they would play games, and they did Battlefield a lot because they could fit a lot of people into a game. And I never got to play with them because I only had dial-up internet until after that show got canceled.
Oh man, me getting into Battlefield was kind of interesting because I was a Call of Duty guy.
Oh yeah,
100%. And then Battlefield 4 came out, and I heard it was a disaster on Xbox when it came out. But then I got a copy of it because my brother was like, "I've actually been playing it. It's been out for like 9 months. It's actually really good." And then I got a copy of it, and I could not put it down. And my brother and I would just play it over and over and over again. And then finally, it was to the point where Battlefield 1 was coming out, and I was all in on Battlefield 1. And that's not even that old of a game, really.
No, Battlefield 1 is like 3 years old now.
Yeah, not that old. But I love that game. And people still play Battlefield 1, even though Battlefield 5 has come out. Because Battlefield 1 is just so good. They all look really good. It feels like you're in like an epic Lawrence of Arabia like movie, you know, like a big budget blockbuster film. Like this stuff, like my brother and I would be playing, and I'd be like, "Oh yeah, only in Battlefield would that happen." Like, would a tank jump off of a castle and land on a plane, and they'd both blow up? Like, it's only Battlefield that happens, you know?
Yeah, there's such good like GIFs all over the internet of just like people doing crazy like loop-de-loops in jets in like Battlefield 4, where they'll like go straight up in the air, they'll jump out of the plane, like kill somebody else who is in a different plane, and then get back in the same plane that they were just flying and like not crash into the ground.
Oh, it's awesome. It's so awesome. I love Battlefield, and it's all because of those big grandiose like Hollywood moments. That's kind of why, like, just to shuffle into it, the Halo campaign gave me that feeling before Battlefield. Like playing the Maw, the last mission on Halo Combat Evolved, where you're driving that Warthog through all the explosions to get to escape on the Pillar of Autumn. That is the feeling that Battlefield gave me, was that game. And I mean, because Halos was that was my whole thing, you know, up until about Halo 3. I just played Halos, and then Call of Duty Modern Warfare came out, and it changed all that stuff for me and my friends.
Yeah, that was Modern Warfare was a real game changer for sure.
Before
we get off of Battlefield entirely, my Battlefield, everybody has like their Battlefield, you know. My Battlefield was Battlefield Bad Company 2.
Oh, we've talked about this just off the podcast. You love this game.
I loved Bad Company 2. I remember when the beta came out, it was the first Bad Company was the first like console only Battlefield game. And it was cool. It was like, it had a storyline and stuff, which was like kind of neat. And then, but it had this neat multiplayer that was like it was like typical Battlefield stuff. It was a little bit smaller because it was on console. But I remember when Bad Company 2 came out, I played the beta on PlayStation 3. And then when the game came out, I bought it for my roommate's Xbox 360, I think, in college. And we played so much Bad Company 2. Like that one was so cool because it had this rush game mode where, you had to plant a bomb on one of two like bomb points, like sort of like Counter-Strike, only the maps were much bigger and they were more linear. They didn't have they had a lot of pathways to get to where you want to go. But the trick was when you planted the bomb and it blew up, it wasn't just like one team won and one team lost. It was like that area of the map was now like taken by the attackers. And so the whole map would shift and you'd get a whole nother section of the map and you'd go and do it again. People would be defending, you'd be attacking. And so the map changed as you went on through the game because you would just move further into like the jungle or further into the city or something like that. And it was like really fun and dynamic. And I loved it. There were no jets though. And
you know what?
Helicopters were really hard to fly.
You gotta love it still, because Rush is still in all of the battlefields.
I
All
know
the new
it's not
ones.
it's not like the main mode though. Everybody plays Conquest and stuff. I loved Rush.
I used to play Conquest a lot, and then I switched to smaller game modes like Rush and Domination and stuff like that, because it's more fun, I think, and you also
Yeah.
don't get constantly murdered by tanks and planes.
Yeah, I think the fantasy of the large battlefield with like hundreds of people on it is like it's a cool fantasy of like this idea, but really what ends up happening, at least in my experience, is you just get sniped out of nowhere by people you can't see. And it's just like a lot of dying from far away, and there's not a whole lot of really cool combat opportunities. At least that's been my experience. So like I also gravitate towards, so like if you get the like 12 versus 12 is kind of as high as I'll go at this point. Those are the much more fun, and even down to like 6 versus 6, which is what I really loved in Destiny, is like these really small matches.
There's a map on Battlefield 1 where it was in the desert, and it would have all these points across the desert, but then there was a city with like 3 points in it. And my favorite
that's
thing
cool.
to do was when you would work your way, each team would work their way up, and then they'd meet in the city, because then it actually felt like a real big team battle kind of thing.
Oh,
You know?
yeah.
Where you're all like have these points in the city, and there's all these choke points and like elevation and stuff like that. It was really fun. That's my favorite. What was the name of that FPS that tried to have like 100 people in the game?
Oh, MAG. I think it had 256 player battles. Yeah.
Yeah, we talked about that on an episode. I think a PlayStation episode, right?
Yeah, the
'Cause,
PlayStation 3 episode, because it was a PS3 exclusive. And it was like, yeah, it was a really cool idea, but it was just too big, and it was hard to feel like you had really had an impact on the battle. That's the other thing, like playing large maps, is like I can't tell what my contribution is adding. You know what I mean? Because if it takes 6 of us to take a point, like it's hard for me to feel like, oh man, I really made a good play there to save the game for our team.
That is 100% why I did not get into PlanetSide. PlanetSide 2.
That was an MMORPG, right?
PlanetSide 2 was like a first-person shooter MMORPG. Yeah, and it just felt like when you start, you're so weak, and everyone else has been playing the game so much that you don't know what you're doing, and you just get wrecked constantly.
Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah, and it's a free-to-play game. It's free to play on Steam.
Oh, I should check it out. I was always interested in PlanetSide, but when the original came out, it had like a subscription fee attached to it, and it was like the point in my life where I was like not trying to pay subscription fees on games. So I never, like when PlanetSide 2 was announced, I just wasn't that interested in it because I wasn't ever able to play the first. But
Dude, I'm still at that point in my life, and it is crazy. I do kind of want to play WoW Classic also, by the way.
Man, that's another
might be
topic for another time.
I know, but
yeah.
that might be something we talk about at the end of this episode, because I think it'd be really fun. Okay, so
Yeah.
PlanetSide's too big, so we feel like for you 12 on 12 is like the perfect amount.
Yeah, 12 on 12 is about the max. I'd think even lower than that is maybe the perfect, like 6 versus 6 or 5 versus 5. I like the small matches of like Counter-Strike is like generally 6 versus 6, I think, in like the like sort of competitive mode. I think Rainbow Six Siege, which is another really cool tactical shooter, is also 6 versus 6. And that's the number where you can really feel like you can have like what the tactical shooter community calls like a clutch moment, where you like 1v3 and kill like everybody on the enemy team and win the round for your team, which is hard to do in a large battle where there's like 30 people on the other team. You can't like 1v30, right?
Yeah, that's the best feeling in the world, is when you like feel like you're really good at the game, or you have a moment where you feel super like professional at the game.
Yeah.
I would get those when I played Counter-Strike. I got really into Counter-Strike Source in high school, so I was like,
oh yeah,
17 or 18, and I would play it a lot just by myself. And then when I moved to go to college in Pullman, everyone on my dorm room floor got it, and we all played gun games together, and it was
gun game is so fun.
It was so much fun.
What draws you to Counter-Strike? Like, what do you like the most about Counter-Strike?
It's funny because the first thing that drew me to it was that you can buy items, like you could pick your own loadout in the beginning with the money you earn, and so there kind of was like this aspect of like you got to be careful. What do you spend money on? Like, what do you want to do?
Yeah,
but
there's
also,
like an economy.
You get to learn the maps. Like Dust 2 and Office were like I wanted to play. That's what's crazy about Counter-Strike maps. I never got tired of them.
Yeah, you never wanted to play anything different. Like I remember playing Dust and Office specifically. I think Office is my favorite, and Assault. I really like the Assault map, but it was a hostage rescue map, which is like less popular than
Bomb Defusal, Assault's the one
but-
with the big warehouse, right?
Yeah, I really like that map.
Yeah, that's a good map. I really liked Office. The best part was the servers on Counter-Strike where it's just like 24/7 Office with like 32 people on each team, and it's ridiculous.
Yeah, those are fun. Those are like Counter-Strike days back in the day when there was no real set rules of like what a Counter-Strike game was. So it would be like, yeah, this server is 16 versus 16. This server is 8 versus 8. And it would just be like, I'm just going to play what I feel like playing or what looks good or what has the lowest ping.
I jumped into Global Offensive a couple months ago, and I was just like, this is just way too hardcore feeling for me now.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like it's a bunch of tryhards in there. I
It is.
I
It
don't want to
gets
be with
pretty
tryhards.
sweaty.
And also people being, oh, I almost swore. Being a bunch of jerks, you know? Being a bunch of jerks. Like, just yelling at their own teammates and stuff. And it's like, I don't want to be a part of this at all.
Yeah. I think what draws me to tactical shooters like Counter-Strike is the round structure of the multiplayer of like playing until the end of a round, which really only lasts like 2 or 3 minutes each round, right?
Yeah, really quick.
And when you die, you don't respawn until the next round. And so the games have this real structure to them, and then sort of a back and forth as you do like best of. I think a competitive Counter-Strike match is like best of 25 or something like that, like first to like 13 wins. And so it can take a really long time, but you get this back and forth that happens between like
really
attacking
exciting.
and defending, and it gets really exciting, especially when the game is close and you pull off that 1v3 that wins your team the whole game that you've been spending like 45 minutes playing. That I really like that aspect of it, specifically when you play like competitive Counter-Strike where everybody is there and we're not like dropping in and out. Because you can do like drop in and out on older Counter-Strike where you would just play round to round, and sometimes you'd be on one side, sometimes you'd be on the other if like the team got auto balanced, and so it felt a little bit less competitive. But I think there's a time and place for that, like tryharding and getting really sweaty playing a game. But it sucks when you get in and you're matched up with people who are wanting to play harder than you want to play.
Yeah, that's the problem. I just play on casual things now when I play Counter-Strike.
Yeah.
I don't even try that hard.
Yeah, I get you.
Counter-Strike, we probably have to do a history on that at some point. Because
We should. It's got an interesting history.
it also really kind of set the tone for a lot of like modern shooters, you know? Whereas where Halo showed it could be done on consoles, I feel like Counter-Strike was like, no, this can be like a serious thing. Like, I feel like we wouldn't have Call of Duty without Counter-Strike.
Oh, I 100% agree. Especially like competitive shooters, like arena shooters like Quake and Unreal Tournament and stuff like that. Like those had competitive scenes, but I think Counter-Strike was where it was really like the arena shooters competitive scenes were more around 1 versus 1 or free for all, where it was like you and your skill and trying to beat everybody else, and the team modes were kind of secondary. Counter-Strike is really where it was like, no, this is a team game. And yes, you can be individually good and like win a round or a game for your team, but you still need to have a good team. No one person can do it by themselves all the time, you know?
Yeah, you have to have someone there. Otherwise, you have that guy that thinks he's really good playing Counter-Strike with you and then dies.
Whoa. Yep.
Very quickly.
And then it's always your fault that they died.
Exactly. And it probably is, you know. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I'm just bad. Yeah, those are the big like multiplayer games. I guess Halo was a really big multiplayer thing too. I mean, Halo 1 was because of all the LAN party stuff, but then Halo 2 had online with Xbox Live.
I never played a lot of Halo 2 online. I played so much Halo 3 online, though.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I played a lot of Halo 3 online.
I played a decent amount of Halo 2 online, but I didn't play so much on Xbox Live because subscription fee. I wasn't trying to pay subscription fees, but it's still a program that still exists, but there's a program that you could run on your computer that would allow you to play System Link online with other people. And so I used to play online like System Link games with people, which was really fun. And you could do it with the original Halo 2, Halo Combat Evolved. And that was really fun.
Yeah, Halo.
And the original Halo?
I was saying that Halo is the first game, I feel like, the first-person shooter that people thought, hey, this can be done with friends. Like, you know, like you could play 2v2 split screen, and it's super fun. And also you had the whole screen looking thing, which is always great. You're screen looking. No, I'm not screen looking. No, you're screen looking. No, I'm screen looking. Everybody's screen looking, okay? Just live with it.
I used to play because the original Halo had system link, so you could play up to 16 players. I think in any configuration of up to 4 players on an Xbox. And we used to play that. We used to have LAN parties at my high school, and we would play the original Halo, and we would play Halo 2, and we would link them all up system link and play 16-player games. And we had tournaments where we would play, like, I think they were 6 versus 6 tournaments that I was terrible at, and I lost every single time. But man, we had a lot of fun playing those games together.
It's just so much fun to play with the rocket launchers, I think. You know, like you try to like jump time it, right?
Yep.
And then if it blows up and you go flying across the screen but you don't die, that's always fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Halo had such a good community behind it too, because you got things like Red versus Blue and all of this other Halo sort of related things that kind of was different from other FPSs. It sort of transcended a little bit outside of like nerd. Right? There were like a lot of cool kids playing Halo too, I think.
There were a lot of cool kids playing Halo. I would agree with that completely. A lot of the cool kids.
Yep. And they had cool campaigns. I always loved all of the Halo campaigns, honestly. Like, people talk crap about Halo 5, but I still really enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it too. We're in the same boat. Gosh, that's why we're friends. We just agree with each other on all the Halo campaigns. That's what's important.
Yeah.
Halo 1's campaign blew my mind.
Oh my goodness. So good.
Like, when you go in and meet the Flood for the first time, it's so scary. But also just the Truth and Reconciliation, that mission, the Silent Cartographer, that whole run.
Yeah.
It just, and I mean, even when you start on the Pillar of Autumn, you're just like, this is like, it's kind of starting out like Star Wars, where there's a crash ship, there's all this stuff's happening, you got to get out. It's just super cool. I love it so much.
Yeah. Oh man, it's funny you talk about the Silent Cartographer, because in the demo for Halo on PC, that was the map that you could play. That was the single player level you could play. So before I actually owned a copy of Halo, I had the demo, and I used to play that level over and over and over. And then also the demo for Halo, which was a very small download, I want to say it was like under 200 megabytes, had multiplayer and had one map you could play, Blood Gulch. And what we would do at school, which I probably shouldn't say anything because I'm going to get us all in trouble now 15 years later.
Oh,
but
no. Here we go.
We used to install Halo demo on as many computers as we could, and then we would play the Halo demo over the school network, and we would all play on Blood Gulch and have so much fun. And then at the end of like whatever computer time with the computer where the teacher wasn't paying attention, then we would just uninstall it, and it was so great because you didn't need CDs, you didn't need anything like that. You just put it on like a shared folder on the internet or on your school network and just play Halo demo. And Blood Gulch is like one of the best maps anyway, so nobody had any problem just playing Blood Gulch over and over again.
Blood Gulch was amazing. Oh, was it Beaver Creek? Was that the other one?
Yeah, that one's
Beaver
cool
Creek
too.
was really fun for like small team stuff. Man, original Halos just felt so good.
Yeah, that's another good small team one, because I think it was 16 players total, so you could do 8 versus 8, which is like that's getting on the upper end, but still fun.
That's kind of perfect. I feel like for me with 8v8. I was a big fan of 8v8. So when I was a wee lad, and when I say a wee lad, I mean in high school, I played a game. We're talking about stories. I got to bring this up at some point. Red Faction 2.
Oh, tell me about this.
Red Faction 2 has this. It's about these mercenaries, okay, and they're on Mars, and there's fighting. That's the basic story. But it kind of has, I think, what people love about the Gears of War series, like the camaraderie with the characters. Mm-hmm. Red Faction 2 was kind of doing that before that, because Red Faction 2 I played on PlayStation 2. So this is because when was Gears of War?
Way back in the day.
Yeah, Gears of War 1 came out on Xbox 360, right?
Right. I think it was 2006, I want to say.
Yeah, I was playing Red Faction 2 before that, and there's this cutscene where the sniper team member dies, and it's just so gut-wrenching. It's called like Fall from Grace or something was the name of the level. I still remember, but it was so good. And I think that's what I never played Gears of War, really, growing up.
We keep talking about it. We got to go back to that.
We got to do that. We got to do that at some point. But that's kind of, I think, what people love about Gears of War is the camaraderie of all the characters. And I got that with Red Faction 2. And I just want people to know that, because I don't think Red Faction 2 gets the love it deserves.
Yeah.
Because it's
Is that the one
definitely
where you
like
could like dig holes too? Like if you fired a rocket launcher at the ground, you can like dig tunnels?
Oh, yeah. It definitely, things blew up. It was awesome. Big fan.
Lots of destruction.
Yeah, I'm looking up Red Faction 2 right now. It's definitely a PS2 game. Yep, Red Faction 2. I remember all of this. Oh, man. It's on Steam? Oh, no. Oh, no. I might jump in on this right now.
We're going to lose Mike to Red Faction 2.
Oh, yeah. It's Mars in the year 2080. So you know it's getting real. Yeah, it's really great. It's a really great game. Also had a cool multiplayer that I would just bother my brother and ask him to play with me, but I didn't have a lot of friends to play it with because no one really owned it. No one really knew, and they'd have to come over to my house. But it was really cool. I really, really liked it. Oh, and this is the crazy part. Okay, the multiplayer it says here, it has 40 levels.
Dang.
Isn't that a ton?
That's a lot of levels.
Oh, man, this is why I had fun. You can also make bots.
There you go. That was key. I feel like in the early 2000s when like broadband internet was not as widespread. Maybe I'm just speaking for myself because I didn't get fast internet until later.
You're not. You're speaking for me too right now, 100%.
Yeah. So like any multiplayer game that had bots, I was in on it. And it meant that I was very bad at games because I wasn't playing against smart opponents, but I played like Unreal Tournament with bots. I didn't have good internet. I played Star Wars Jedi Knight 2 with bots, no good internet. I played, did I say Unreal Tournament already? Quake 3. There's so many games that I would just play with bots. Oh, man.
Okay, I'm reading about this, and I don't remember this at all, but because I probably didn't experiment with it too much. In Red Faction 2, you could create your own bots, and it would keep their own stats.
Whoa.
So you could see like how much they camp or how aggressive they are, and you could design these bots. It was a really cool game.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, Red Faction 2 is like a bright and shining spot in the Red Faction game series because Red Faction 1 was the game that came out as an Xbox exclusive, I believe.
Oh. That
was like, hey, look how cool this is, Red Faction for Xbox. That's what you want, you know? Because it's definitely like it was. I think it come out. It came out on PlayStation 2, but I feel like it was like a kind of a console exclusive on Xbox because it was kind of advertised a lot on Xbox. I thought maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm completely wrong.
Like it came out on all the things. It looks like.
Yeah, so maybe I'm wrong about that. But I just remember being like Red Faction 1, that looks okay, but Red Faction 2 was right up my alley. Let me tell you that much. Boy, oh boy, big fan. Can't get over it. I had to include it on this list of games we talk about because. Has a special spot right in my heart, you know?
Yep.
Right next to Perfect Dark, Red Faction 2.
Wow. That's for me that's Jedi Knight 2. That's like my sort of not random game, but like one that doesn't usually come up when we bring these like kinds of games up because I loved the multiplayer. You could have a lightsaber and force powers, and it was a first-person shooter. And the single player had like a cool storyline about this Jedi was like fallen from grace and like trying to get his powers back, and he sort of accepts that he's not a perfect Jedi, and that's okay. It just came out on Switch and PlayStation 4, actually. So highly recommend picking that up.
Is this Jedi Knight 2 Jedi Outcast? Is that the name of the game?
Yep.
Oh, wow.
And I actually got into making maps for that game, too. I downloaded the map maker, and I made a bunch of really terrible maps, and I never put any of them on the internet, but I had a lot of fun making those maps, and like it was super great.
You know what? I bet you they were really good maps, and you just didn't know how much of a genius you were.
They definitely weren't. They were definitely awful.
Straight up map genius, Tyler Otsby here.
Well, we'll never know because they're definitely gone.
Wait. So you made maps, and you didn't tell anyone about them. So you're the silent cartographer.
It is me. I am the silent cartographer. Wow.
I'm sorry, everybody. This is the part of the podcast where everyone just turned it off at that joke.
They look like, oh.
They're like, oh, man, we knew he was going to go there, and we're so upset. Oh, by the way, we had a one request on Twitter already for a John Glame shirt, so I'm really excited about this. And I'm actually going to look it up because this is a website where you can design a T-shirt, and then people can order it if they want to. It'll just make that amount of T-shirts.
Oh, that's cool.
And they pay with their own money, and we pay with our own money. And I'm like, I got to look into that because maybe we'll make some John Glame shirts, you know?
Yeah. Oh, I'm into that. I'll wear a John Glame shirt.
John Glames. That'd be great.
It's a John Glame shirt with a Jaybird in there somewhere.
Oh, obviously hidden Jaybird.
A hidden Jaybird. Yeah.
Wait, so in Jedi Outcast, could you use force powers in the first person?
Yes.
That's so awesome.
It was so cool. You didn't get them till later in the game, but you could use them in multiplayer also, and it was so fun. They had a lot of cool maps. It was a smaller game. I want to say 12 versus 12 maybe was the max. It was based on Quake 3. The engine was Quake 3, so everything about it was all very Quake 3-like, but it was so fun. And the saber combat is still the best lightsaber combat. Maybe you could probably argue that the next one, Jedi Academy, had better lightsaber combat, but like there were whole groups of people online who would play just lightsaber, and they would just do duels, and there's like a whole like etiquette of how you would play with other people, and like if you didn't follow the rules, you were like people would shun you, and it was very crazy and very strange. But I did not play it online very much because I didn't have good internet.
But now you do, and now you're gonna become a master, a Jedi master.
That's right, especially now that it's out on PlayStation and Switch. I don't think it has multiplayer on those, but whatever.
I'm looking it up. I might have to get this on the old. Wait, I got one of these on Xbox backwards compatible. I just don't remember which one. I think it's Academy. I got.
Yeah, Academy and Jedi Knight 2 I think are both backward compatible because they were on the OG Xbox.
So cool. Big fan.
Yep, I love Jedi Knight.
That's awesome. Also, first-person Star Wars games, the Battlefront series.
Blew my mind.
For the most
part, pretty good.
I'm talking about the older ones too.
Yeah,
the older Battlefronts. The
newer ones are solid. I hear Battlefront 2 has gotten a lot better, but it's still like they're just sort of marred by the scandals of the loot boxes, which is a bummer.
Yeah, Battlefront 1 had a lot of really cool. It just wasn't a big game.
Yeah.
You know, and then Battlefront 2's the story was actually pretty decent, I thought. And then you just got stuck in that loot box thing. I just played the story and I stopped playing. I was
I still need to go back to do that. I have
it's a pretty quick story.
I have the Battlefront 2 PlayStation 4 Pro, and so I have like a copy of Battlefront 2, but I've never played it.
I think the storyline's worth playing. I don't even know if anyone's playing multiplayer on it anymore at all, but who knows?
Yeah. They put out a bunch of free DLC. Like, I don't think they have like a expansion pass or anything like that. They just put out a bunch of stuff and have made the game generally better. So I hear it's like not as bad as it was when it first came out and had all the loot box stuff going on, but it's kind of too late, you know?
A little too late, you know what I mean?
Yep.
One thing I do want to mention, because I'd feel remorse if I didn't mention this, is the reason I loved, and we're doing a full 180 here, Call of Duty, Modern Warfare, and Black Ops multiplayer is their progression system.
Oh,
that
they changed
addictive.
the game.
That is addictive.
I remember when Call of Duty 4 came out and it changed the game of like after every match, no matter what, you like gain experience points to level up. And it was so foreign to me at the time because I was like, are you getting stronger as you level up? Like, how is that fair? But it was like, it's so addictive when no matter what, you make some sort of progress towards something. Like they don't just give you all the guns from the start. You got to like earn them, which is very interesting.
Oh, yeah. And Call of Duty Black Ops 1, I feel like, is where I really found my stride with the game because you would spend Call of Duty points to buy whatever you wanted.
Oh.
You didn't have to level through it. You could just buy it if you got enough points. So you got to get that tomahawk so you can throw that across the map at the beginning and see if you get somebody.
Yep.
It's the fun. But I love Call of Duty Black Ops 1. I also think I love it because all of my friends played that, so we always had a full team of 6.
Oh, that's awesome.
And that's what made it fun. Like all 6 of us got online like every night. This was right out of college too. So like I remember being actually in this exact same room I am right now. And I got Black Ops 2 and I have my Black Ops 1 and I have my TV set up and I would just play it with them for like 6 hours every night for like 2 or 3 months we did this. And we just got so good at like, and it's not fair, okay? We would just hold down the right parts of the map. We camped the right parts of the map, but as a group, you know, so we're all like looking one direction and we'd like help each other out. And we would just annihilate. You know, we were just treating it like we're real soldiers, you know?
Yep.
Real E-soldiers. So my favorite map in Black Ops 1 was the jungle map. And I don't know what it was called. I remember Hanoi was a map, but also the snow map where you could chuck your tomahawk across in the beginning and see if you got a kill. That was a fun one, too. That's always a fun one.
The Call of Duties that stick out to me really are Call of Duty. Call of Duty 1 had awesome multiplayer that I used to. This was also a Quake 3 game, so there's a little bit of a pattern here. But Call of Duty 1 had really fun multiplayer that we would play again at my high school LAN parties. We had a blast just like killing each other, playing Call of Duty. It was just standard, like run and gun, kill each other. You got to pick kind of a loadout at the beginning, and each team was a different like nationality. So like you would be, one side would be the Americans, and you would have like several different loadouts you could pick for Americans, and one side would be the Russians. You could several different loadouts you could pick for the Russians, and it was a lot of fun. But single player wise, the Call of Duty that really hooked me was Call of Duty 2, and I can remember that very first mission where you're in Russia and like you're like blowing up a like building of parliament or something like that, or maybe I don't know if you blow it up or if somebody else blows it up, but like there's a part where this giant like huge building starts to fall, and I was playing with like my headphones on my PC, so my face was like glued to my screen, and I just remember being blown away by this scene and like how cool it felt to like have really had an effect on the world, even though it was a totally scripted like part of the game. That really blew me away and brought me into Call of Duty. I really loved Call of Duty 2 for that reason.
Yeah, Call of Duty stories. Like, I mean, when the big rush came out with multiplayer, like Call of Duty Modern Warfare 1 had an amazing storyline.
Yeah, that game was really fun.
Like, you got really connected to Captain Price, you know, like that sniper mission when you're in the ghillie suit and you got to like, he's guiding you through it. You're like, oh, this is great.
Oh, yeah. And then he's like, this town used to have 50,000 people in it.
Oh,
now it's a ghost town.
Oh, really good accent work by Tyler. What's happening right now?
Scottish accent.
Black Ops 1 also had this really cool story where it's like you have like some weird like memory thing in your brain, you know, like very Winter Soldier-y kind of feel, you know?
Yeah, there was a weird thing going on there. Because it took place during Vietnam, right? A lot of it did.
Yeah, a lot of it did. One thing, though, and I would be, again, I'd feel some serious remorse if I didn't mention these games because they came out before Battlefield, but the Medal of Honor games also had a very solid story to them.
Oh, I never played any of those, but
Medal of Honor, you felt more like a spy than anything else.
Yeah.
Whereas Call of Duty games made you feel like a war hero. You're in the thick of it. I feel like Medal of Honor games, you kind of felt like a spy at first, and then it kind of transitioned into being more of a war game like Call of Duty Modern Warfare or Battlefield, and then it just became Battlefield because the EA was like, we bought DICE and now we're just gonna make Battlefields. That's all we're gonna do. So because that Battlefield 3 when it came out was a big deal.
Oh yeah, I remember Battlefield 3. I played a lot of Battlefield 2, and so I was really stoked for Battlefield 3, and I think that one came out after Bad Company 2, so there was like a few games in between Battlefield 2 and Battlefield 3, so there's like a lot of hype around Battlefield 3.
Yeah, it was a lot of hype. It was really cool. I was a big fan of those games. I'm still a big fan of all of those Call of Duty games. I just haven't played the ones recently because, like I said before, I'm a big fan of a campaign.
Yeah, they got rid of it in Black Ops 4.
Yeah, and they don't. But apparently, this new Modern Warfare is gonna have a campaign, and people are saying it looks like it's pretty good. And so
I'll check it out.
Yeah, I think I would check it out too. I got burned, by the way. I got burned hard by that one game. It was Advanced Warfare where they were trying to be like Titanfall had just come out, so they were trying to have their own like jetpacky kind of thing, and I'm like, this isn't Call of Duty. This isn't what I wanted. And my friends and I all agreed, and we all bought them like opening day, and I think we all either returned our copies, like sold them back, or traded them for something else because we're just like, no, it just doesn't do it for me.
That's too bad. I played the World War II one last year. That's the newest Call of Duty I played
like
the full
one.
way through since Modern Warfare 2.
I also
liked it, yeah.
I also like the story of that one. I played the story of it all the way through, and then my friends kind of stopped playing multiplayer, and I'm like, that's fine. I got my thing out of it.
It had a lot of loot box stuff going on that I was like kind of not really into.
Yeah, I'm not really into that at all. We should talk about your favorite thing, though, right now, and that is Doom 2016.
Oh, man. I mean, I feel like we touched on that when we did our... I feel like we talked about Doom pretty recently, but man.
That's just a prime example of taking an older game model, like the way they played a game, and showing that it can be done in the modern day.
Yeah, it's a perfect remake because it doesn't try to... I mean, what it does is it says, okay, what was so great about the first Doom? And especially for games that are that old, it's like, what were they trying to do? What were they? What was the like the point of this, or what were they trying to evoke? You know, and like, okay, we have more technology now and better technology, and like we can do this in a more realistic and exciting way. Like, how do we do what that game was trying to do, but actually do it this time? And just nails it perfectly like, it doesn't just recreate it like pixel for pixel, right? But just like with better lighting or whatever. They add so many gameplay elements that are exactly what the idea of the first game was trying to get at. Like the way they incentivize you to always be killing and going in for the close shots, because that's how you get your health back, is by doing the like cool kill moves. Like, it's just a really tight gameplay loop. It's just so much fun.
I'm so excited for Doom Eternal. I'm so excited for it. I'm gonna buy it. Like, I think if I have the money, I am buying it opening day it comes out. That's how much I loved, because you got me on Doom. You're like, you gotta play Doom 2016, and I'm like, all right, Tyler, I'll play it. And then you're like, hey, it's free on the Game Pass. I'm like, well, better try it out. And I was in love.
So good.
It's so good. I even really dug the story. Like, I know it's not a great story. It's a very straightforward, but his whole thing is just like, I hate demons, I gotta kill him. And I'm like, I can get behind that. And then I'm just so into it the whole time. And you get so good at it. It's like murder parkour, like we've mentioned before. Oh, gosh.
Murder parkour is good. Yeah, and... I'm sorry, go ahead.
I just feel like we had to mention it again. It's so good. I can't... If someone came up to me and was like, what first-person shooter should I play? I'd be like, Doom 2016. Just pick it up right now. You
know exactly what that game is about the minute like the first cutscene plays and you kind of do some stuff, and then like the heavy metal like guitars kick in and he like cocks the shotgun to the beat of the song. You know what I mean?
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Like it's just perfectly timed, and it's exactly what Doom is. It's just exactly it.
It makes you feel cool. It makes you just feel so cool. You're like, I am this badass. Yeah, I said it. I said badass on our podcast. Is that okay?
Hey, it's our podcast. We can do what we want.
They say that on primetime television, I think. So that's fine.
Sure.
Yeah, but never again, though. Obviously, never again. But yeah, Doom 2016. Everyone's got to play it. One game I do want to mention too. I feel like Borderlands.
Oh, it's the co-op, man. That is the quintessential co-op game.
Quintessential co-op game. It's got that loot chasing Diablo thing, whereas Call of Duty has like the progression. Borderlands has progression still. You're leveling up your character. It is an RPG, but you got to get those sweet guns.
Yeah, Borderlands is what I dreamed about when I used to play RPGs. Like as a kid, like way back in the day, I would be like, man, it'd be so cool. A first-person shooter that's also an RPG where you get stronger by killing bad guys and getting experience. I was like, well, too bad nobody's ever going to make that. And then I forgot about it until Borderlands came out.
Oh, man.
It was everything I ever wanted.
Yeah, the first Borderlands, I think I played most of that game by myself. And then my friends got it. They're like, have you played Borderlands? And I'm like, yeah, bruh. I've been at this party, and it's a great party, okay? It's even alone, it's a great party.
Yeah, so fun. The first one is great. Second one is sort of like perfect. I played through that with my girlfriend, and we had a blast. We played through the whole thing. We did all the side quests. Never played the pre-sequel, though.
It's good. It's just not as good as 1 and 2, and they add this new oxygen mechanic, because you're technically in space for some of it, where you have to have oxygen. And it's just kind of an annoyance more than anything. It's like not very important, and it never really matters. And
it's just something to sort of constantly be worried about that's for no reason.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, why is this here? But we got to talk about a game that we play a lot together, and that is Left 4 Dead. We're talking about co-op right now. We got to talk about Left 4 Dead.
Left 4 Dead is also the quintessential co-op game. Like, that's the whole idea of it, is that it's co-op, right? Even when you're playing by yourself, you're playing with 3 bots who are just stand-ins for where the other players would be if you had friends.
It sounds so sad when you say it that way.
But we used to play this in college, in the green room. We would sit and play Left 4 Dead for so long. We had so much fun. It's
also fun because it's a movie. You're playing through a movie.
Yeah, I love the movie. I actually have a couple of the posters up on my wall here. I've got Dead Harvest, I think, and No Mercy.
He does. I can confirm. I've been to his house. It's very nice.
Yeah, and they're like broken because we've moved a few times and the frames have gotten broken, but they look even cooler because they're broken
they look even more Left 4 Dead-y.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it looks right that they're broken.
Do you want to talk about some non-traditional first-person shooters?
Sure.
Like, let's say Mirror's Edge, which I've never really beaten all the way through and played all the way through.
Yeah, Mirror's Edge. I remember when this game came out because it came out on the same day as Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts. This was in 2008, my freshman year of college, and I felt like a high roller, like I was just a baller because I was able to buy 2 games at once, full price.
You are a baller.
I was like, totally, this was so cool. So I got Mirror's Edge.
I was going to say, don't let anyone say you're not a baller, Tyler. You know what? I would say if you listen to this podcast, you are a baller.
Wow. A lot of ballers on this podcast.
A lot of John Glameses in this podcast right now.
Yep. A lot of Jaybird playing John Glameses out there.
Man. JJ Glames. Jaybird John Glames.
But I was so excited for Mirror's Edge because when I was growing up, I was kind of into like inline skating, like rollerblading, like on half pipes and stuff, and skateboarding. And a sort of offshoot of that was this like free running thing where people they wouldn't have wheels and they would just run and do tricks, which I also thought was very cool. And Mirror's Edge is a game that's all about parkour, because it takes place kind of in this dystopian future where all communications are monitored. So the only way to get like a secure message to somebody is to give it to a courier who would then run the message like across rooftops, sort of clandestinely, to wherever it needed to go. And so you play as one of those runners who's running messages. And there's a whole plot that like you probably bring down the government or something like that. But it's so fun because of the way it's first person and you only ever see through the eyes of faith, and you can run up walls and like jump. It feels very realistic, even though you're doing all this crazy stuff, just because like these are real parkour things that are happening. Like people who are very good at parkour actually do these moves that they do in Mirror's Edge. And it captures that feeling of running really, really well. In fact, some people get really motion sick from it because it sticks to that first person view so heavily. But man, it's a great game.
You're not supposed to use your gun, right? You can get a gun, but you're not supposed to use it, right?
Yeah. So you can like when police come after you, like the idea what they were going for, and they said this in like a lot of interviews leading up to it, they're like, the best thing to do in any combat situation is always to run, but if you need to, you can like jump on the police officer and like kick them and knock them down, and you can take their gun, and then basically you can fire that gun until you run out of bullets. You can't reload, and so you would get whatever bullets were left in their gun, so like sometimes only 2 or 3 bullets, and then you could like shoot your other enemies. But it was almost always a better choice to run away, to like figure out a cool way to maneuver your way out of there rather than try to take their gun, because they really didn't want it to be like a shooter. You know, they don't want you to just pick up a gun and kill everybody.
That's cool. We got to talk about the official leader of non-traditional first-person shooters right now.
Are you talking about Portal?
Very much am talking about Portal right now. Ooh.
Oh man, Portal's great because it's like hardly even a first-person shooter. Like that's just a mechanic for the puzzles that you do.
Yeah, it just took the whole first-person shooter genre and kind of flipped it on its head. It's like you're not killing anything, you're solving puzzles, and it's a lot of movement, a lot of platforming.
Yeah. And it's a really simple concept of like, okay, you have this gun. When you press the right trigger, you fire one portal. And when you press the left trigger, you fire the other side of that portal, and it sticks to the wall, and you could just walk in between these portals. That's it. That's the whole game. Now figure out how to get from here to the goal, right? And there's like all kinds of different ways you can use these portals to get to your goal. But in the end, it's super, super simple in that that's all there is to it. Really is just put one portal here, put one portal there, walk through it, right?
Oh, I love it. And Portal 2 had an amazing story to it. Like where Portal 1 story leaves off, Portal 2, they went like full Hollywood movie story, which I loved. Yeah.
What I think a lot of people forget about the first Portal game was that they just sort of announced it. They were like, when Valve was like, okay, we're putting out Half-Life 2, Episode 2, and we're putting it all into a thing we're calling the Orange Box. And it's going to have Half-Life 2, it's going to have Half-Life 2, Episode 2, Episode 1, Episode 2. It's going to have Counter-Strike Source, and it's going to have this cool new game we made called Team Fortress 2. You guys are familiar with the original Team Fortress. This is pretty cool too. Oh, and also, I guess we'll just toss in this Portal game. This is fun. You shoot portals, and it's a puzzle game. And everybody was like, oh yeah, that sounds kind of cool, I guess. And so that's what I knew going into Portal. I was like, oh, that sounds kind of fun. I guess I'll give it a try. And so I played it, and it was like kind of quirky, and I sort of enjoyed it. And then I remember a moment, I can't remember the exact moment, but I remember that there was a moment where I was like, oh, I wonder if they know that what they said there was funny. You know, it was like, because it sort of ramps into the humor of the game.
Oh, yeah.
That GLaDOS has, so you sort of get ramped into it. And then later on, it becomes very clear that like this is a funny game. And I still remember that final boss fight with Gladys, and she's just hurling insults at you the entire time. And they're so good that I died multiple times just because I was laughing so hard. And then after you beat it and you finished it, the credits start to roll and they play the Still Alive song by Jonathan Colton. And I could not, that was it. Like I just lost it right there. I laughed so hard because it was just so unexpected.
Oh man, it's so good. It is such a good, and then for me, I love the second one a lot because it just goes even deeper into it.
Oh yeah, yeah. They take what worked about the first one, and they just hammer it home. It's so good.
It's so great. I'm a big fan. Other games that are first-person shooters that I feel like we should talk about because this is very much an RPG. Fallout.
Oh yeah, I loved 3 and New Vegas. Didn't play a whole lot of 4, but. Yeah, I'll let you talk about that. You played a lot of Fallout. You probably should talk about this one.
I 100% achievements Fallout 4, actually. Now that I think about
you got the
it.
platinum?
And the DLC. With the DLC. I went into the Nuka-Cola world, and I played the Carnival games for 4 straight hours to get that achievement. No big deal.
Wow.
It wasn't 4 hours. It was 2 or 3. Still a lot. Still too much. I like Fallout a lot. Fallout 3 kind of changed it it's kind of when I got an Xbox 360 again, and I definitely had a lull in gaming, and it was like senior year of high school to like sophomore year of college. It was like a 2-year period where I didn't really play a lot of video games. Like that was when I played Counter-Strike Source, I should say. But once that ended in the dorms, it kind of just ended. And the one thing I did pick up then at that time, which is kind of weird, is I got Minecraft in alpha. I don't know how I found that.
Oh, I remember when that was starting to sort of become kind of big in like 2010 or 2011, and like people were starting to get in on this Minecraft thing, and I was like, I don't get it.
Yeah, I just got in on it, and I don't know how I got in on it, and I would build things by myself because it was just none of my friends knew about it, and it's like one of the first times I've gotten into something early. You know, but instead of being like the guy that's like, I was in early, I was just like, yeah, I've been playing it for a long time. I just didn't tell anybody because it was just kind of it was just kind of like my secret thing, you know, that no one really knew about it. Because also, I mean, if you're an adult and you're playing Minecraft before it's big, you're essentially just a man playing digital Legos. So it's like, I don't want to tell people that I'm playing the digital Legos.
There was definitely a point in time where it became clear that Minecraft was this like thing that kids really liked. Which wasn't the vibe that I necessarily got from it as soon as I heard about it. But then there was definitely a moment where I was like, oh, I see. This is a thing that like kids are super into. I was like, that's great for them. Probably not for me. And so I never really got into Minecraft.
Oh yeah, I didn't get into it with my friends again until we got it on Xbox 360 because I was the one giving instructions. I'm like, no, this is what you do with this, and this is what you do with this. But then there was so much more out of the game. This is not a Minecraft podcast, okay? We got to talk about Fallout. I'm sorry, everybody. But Fallout 3 is what got me really back into video games and out of that time. And I remember sitting there playing it with our mutual friend Jared, and Jared would be telling me where the bobbleheads are, and we went bobblehead hunting one night, and I just tried to get all the bobbleheads.
Oh, man. It's so good. And the soundtrack.
Oh, it's so good. It is so good.
The Wasteland soundtrack it's just full of like songs no newer than the 1950s. But it takes place in the 2070s or something like that.
It's so great. It's such a good thing. And then like how scary the feral ghouls are in the subway system.
Yeah.
All the cool robots. And then Fallout 4 I got really into because they really opened up the world with like the Nuka-Cola world I was telling you about. And then the really scary like New England island that you would go to that was really creepy. That kind of also continued the single player story about the synths, which was really interesting. All the stories are good. I also really like a game that makes me make choices and there's no right answer.
Yeah, the Fallout games, like the first couple of Fallout games that aren't even first person shooters are similar in that way. And like games like New Vegas is the one that really grabbed me. I loved Fallout 3, but New Vegas took that to another level. And that game you could actually play if you made a character that had like a 0 or a 1 intelligence stat. Everybody would just talk down to you and just talk to you like you're a total idiot, which you were because your intelligence was like 0 or 1. And it like changed the entire game to play it that way. And it's just so funny. I loved New Vegas so much. And the soundtrack, I still like go back and listen to those songs.
See, and I should play more. I beat New Vegas once, but I kind of just speed through it because I just wanted to beat the single player mode. And I kind of want to take my time with it like I did with Fallout 3 and Fallout 4 and go back
You
through
should.
it.
It has really good choices too, because there are 3 factions and you sort of like spoilers, but you sort of have to pick one by the end. And they're all like have some redeeming qualities that are pretty cool about them, but like they all have some pretty bad things. There's no real right answer. It's just like, who do I feel like supporting this time?
I definitely chose the selfish Vegas option of being the king of Vegas.
Oh yeah, you can definitely do that.
I definitely chose that option when I played.
Those games made me realize the importance of soundtrack in an open world game, where especially an open world game where you sort of move slowly throughout the world. Those songs need to be good, and I need to be okay with hearing them over and over again. And I love every single song on both of those Fallout games. Like, oh man. So
also
good.
important to note about the Fallout games is the gunplay is not that great. You need to use VATS. Like, you have to use VATS. It's the only first-person shooter on our list that I would say doesn't feel good to just first-person shoot from.
Right, and I don't think it's supposed to either. Like, it's definitely an RPG first, shooter second, and you can play it like a shooter if you want to. And there are like ways to like stat your character to optimize your character to play that way. But it's definitely not the best way to play the game. You should just play it like an RPG and use the VATS system where you can be more precise, and it's much more dependent on dice rolls.
Definitely. Oh man, we got to talk about it. We have to talk about it. I mean, we talk about it literally every episode, but we have to. You ready?
I'm ready.
Destiny 1 and 2. Because I think the reason that you and I love this game so much, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, so at any point you're like, hey, Mike, that's not why I love this, let me know. I love Destiny 1 and 2 because they take the Fallout idea of an RPG and building power that we talked about with Borderlands also, but it has just amazing feeling gunplay. Like, it feels like a really good shooter. It feels like Halo RPG.
Yeah, I'm on board with that. It's so much fun to shoot stuff. And so it has like the 2 types of games that I just love the most. I love shooting stuff in a first-person shooter, and I love making numbers go up in an RPG or an MMORPG. And Destiny has both of those things, and at different times it will execute differently on both of those things depending on where you are and what the latest patch is like. But it combines those 2 things so perfectly. Like, one of the things that I dislike the most about MMORPGs is when you're fighting just trash mobs, it's not very fun because you just know exactly what you're going to do. You have like 3 spells you need to use. It's not fun. It takes up time. There's no reason for it. In Destiny, when you're fighting just the trash stuff in between boss fights or wherever you're on your way to wherever you are, it's not an annoyance. It's fun. It's just fun to shoot stuff.
So fun to shoot things. Big fan. Gosh, and also the raids are crazy.
Oh, yeah.
Destiny 1 raiding was so crazy. It just felt so different than anything I had done in video games. And that was when my friends were still playing on Xbox with me that much, because by the end of it, like, I was the only one left playing Destiny 1. Like, Rise of Iron, Age of Triumph, it was just me. And I was LFGing on Reddit for games. It was really great. Yeah, it was hard, but it worked. I played the raids. I played every single raid and I beat every single raid. So that's happy. But that raid experience with that is nothing like I ever played before. And even like Nightfall Strikes, like when they were really hard. Yeah. It's like that. Like, they just have really good challenges. PvP is something else. Like it ebbs and flows like the whole game, like you were saying. Where there's times where it's really good and it's really bad. But that's kind of what I like about Destiny is I can walk away from it and then I come back and it feels very different.
Yeah, I like that. When you talk about the raids, that Destiny raids in particular, but I think MMO raids in general, they have really given me an appreciation for difficulty in video games in general, but in those kinds of games especially, because like I remember playing with my 5 buddies from work, playing the first Leviathan raid, and we worked at it for a few nights because we were under leveled and we weren't all powered up as much as we could have been for it, and we worked and we worked and we worked. When we finally killed Callus, it was one of my favorite gaming memories just of all time. Like, it just felt so good. We worked so hard for it, and now it's like easy. We can just walk in there and just face roll, but man, it was so satisfying, and it like gave me an appreciation for being able to not just beat a thing that's really hard, but do it more than once to get, like, because you get a pull at the slot machine or whatever. And so like I look forward to raiding every week in Final Fantasy 14 now because I love just getting better at those fights. And I'm really excited to do Savage content, the really hard content in Final Fantasy 14, but I have to get kind of a group together to do that. That's a whole
nice. Yeah.
But man, so
Destiny raids. I still think Vault of Glass is my favorite raid. First one.
I want to play it. I've never played it. I keep hoping that they'll bring it back to Destiny 2.
I don't know if they ever will. I hope they would, but who knows? People are so like either for it or very against it, which I find strange. But Tyler, we've hit about an hour right now. Do you want to go into what you've been playing?
Sure. It's not much different from last week. I've been playing Link's Awakening. I beat the color dungeon last night, so I got my red tunic that gives me double fighting power because the blue tunic gives you more defense, but I don't ever get hit, so I don't need that.
You don't need that at all if you're not taking any hits.
But that's pretty much it. I've been kind of swamped at work, so between work and being at home, I haven't had a ton of time to play games, but it's Link's Awakening when I've got a few minutes.
I've been working
Final Fantasy 14, I'm doing my chores there. But whatever.
Oh, yeah, doing your chores. Well, speaking of chores, I finally got Lumina in Destiny 2 today.
Oh, yeah.
Because
it's time to get back to those.
I got my Lucky Gambit match where I killed someone as they came in to invade. I sniped him in the head like a total boss, and I got the medal. And then it turns out the next step after that is really easy. So I just did it by myself because it's super easy.
Nice.
Yeah, and then today was kind of a big day because Mario Kart Tour came out for phones.
Oh, how's that?
It's actually pretty fun. It's kind of weird because, again, they've designed it so you can just play with one hand.
Uh-huh.
And they're like, do you want to play normal where you just turn, or do you want to turn on drift mode? And I'm like, I'm trying to drift, okay?
Of course, this is Mario Kart.
Yeah, you got to drift to get the boost. And it definitely felt like it let me win the first game because I was like drifting all over the place and I was still in first place. So it's really fun. I think everyone should pick it up and try it out. Wondering when I'm going to hit the paywall. Like, I don't really know when I'm going to hit the paywall because that's definitely going to be a thing. And it looks like there's a different set of levels every week, and you got to get like certain amount of stars on them to like level up and get more carts and stuff. And so it seems like the progression's really fun. But I've been playing it a little bit, and I'm going to play it more probably when I'm up. The reason we're recording this so early, everybody, you didn't know that, but now I told you, is I'm leaving.
You've ruined the illusion.
I've ruined the illusion, but I'm going to go visit family in Alaska, so we gotta record now. So what I'm saying that though, because if you sent us an email, say on Sunday night before this dropped, that's in the future, and I wasn't able to say your email.
Or they don't have internet in Alaska.
No, they don't. And it's going to get crazy in the future. So I don't know what's going to happen. But we might talk about your email next week. We also might talk about a rating or review if you did that. It would be very kind of you to do. It would be very sweet of you to do. Tyler and I would appreciate it very much. But you don't have to. You could also just tell a friend about our podcast. Yeah. That's just as good because we do it for the love of the game. And with that, is there anything else you want to add, Tyler?
No, I think that about covers it. Honorable mention real quick before we go. Metroid Prime. Love that game. That's all I want to say.
Oh, my honorable mention is going to be the Metro series.
Oh, yeah.
I forgot to mention those. Those are great, too. Those are great games. Also, I always turned on the Spartan mode instead of survival horror because I don't want to get scared. I don't like to be scared. So anyway, this is a good discussion. I'm glad we did this. This was really fun, Tyler.
Yeah.
And we'll keep doing these throughout and when things get crazy, but also because this is a good thing for us to do. Just discuss, take a little break from the history, talk about genres. Maybe next time, I was thinking we could try to answer like a question,
Yeah, send us your questions. Also, let us know if you like these discussions because we did the MMO one a few weeks ago or months ago, I guess now, and now we're doing the FPS one. Like, do you like it when we do that, or when you see that pop up in your feed, do you go, maybe I'll skip this one? Because that's important info for us to know.
Yeah, because otherwise we'll just be like never discussing again. We're never having discussions, me and Tyler,
or maybe
on
we'll do
or
more
off the air.
Yeah, we never talk anymore.
You never call. We could do more also if you like them. So let us know. And Tyler's on Twitter at SneakerElf, ELPH. I'm on Twitter at Micoletta. Thank you so much for listening. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.